Hello everyone, today I'll be reviewing In the Heat of the Night. So In the Heat of the Night was directed by Norman Jewison and stars Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger, and right at the start of this film kicks off with an excellent track which is called In the Heat of the Night, which was actually written for this film and was composed by Quincy Jones and sung by Ray Charles. And this is a real jazzy, bluesy song and really sets up the tone for this film very nicely. So this film kicks off with a murder which has happened, and the police are trying to find out who has killed this man. And this film is set in a town of Sparta in Mississippi in the 1960s. So the police come across this black man who's played by Sidney Poitier, and this man's called Virgil Tibbs. And Virgil Tibbs is brought in for questioning, and the police think that he might have been the murder suspect. It later turns out that Virgil Tibbs is actually a police officer from Philadelphia who has come down south to visit his family. And it turns out Virgil Tibbs is also an expert homicide detective. So what we see happen is we see the police in Sparta team up with Virgil Tibbs to find out who the real murder suspect is. Now what this film really does well is show the relationship between Rod Steiger's character, who is the police chief in Sparta, and Sidney Poitier's character Virgil Tibbs, because these two characters obviously don't really like each other very much. Rod Steiger's character, he's a bigot, he doesn't like black people, so he really doesn't like Virgil Tibbs, and he makes some sort of comments every now and then to show his dislike for him. But these two characters, they have to put their differences aside in order to solve the case, and they actually end up working very well as a team in order to solve the crime. What we see happen a few times is Virgil Tibbs finds lots of evidence and he goes through different suspects and starts to eliminate them one by one in order to find out who the real murderer is. And although the film does deal with racial conflicts as a main theme, it also is a very interesting murder mystery whodunit type film where we as the audience can try and work out who it was who committed the murder in the first place and try to get the pieces of this puzzle together and see how it works. So this is actually recognised as being one of, if not the first films to really show the negative aspects of racial relations in America. It can be seen as an anti-racist film. And although nowadays we get lots of films which are like this was really one of the first ones. But at the same time, it's not a very preachy film. It's not a film which is trying to hammer a message down your throat and tell you, how you should think. It's often very subtle in the way it does it. And these two characters, Rod Steiger's character and Sidney Poitier's character, they're two very interesting characters, because Rod Steiger, he plays a police chief who is bigoted and slightly ignorant, but he's not necessarily an evil man. He's just a man who has certain attitudes which perhaps could be improved, and maybe it's a character who needs to learn more about people and needs to learn to respect people more sometimes. And at the end of the day, his character does actually have a heart and he is just trying to do his job. And Sidney Poitier, he does a very good job here. He's quite a restrained character in quite a few scenes. He experiences a lot of bigotry towards him, but he puts up with it and does his job very well. This film won a few Oscars as well. It won the Oscar for Best Picture, which was impressive really, considering this was it was the 1968 Oscars for the 1967 films, and there were quite a few films in 1967. There was also another Sidney Poitier film, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and there was also The Graduate and Bonnie and Clyde, which are also very good films. So it was a very competitive year for films. So it's a very good job for In the Heat of the Night to win the Best Picture Oscar. Rod Steiger did also win the Oscar for Best Actor for this film. Sadly, Sidney Poitier was not nominated for an Oscar, but this film has now been recognised as quite an important film in the history of Hollywood in setting a tone for what is to come for films which are similar to this. We also get quite an excellent supporting cast in this film. So Anthony James, he plays this creepy guy who works in this diner, and we see him a few times throughout the film. And really the whole setting of Sparta, Mississippi is almost a character in itself, because we're introduced to this town in Mississippi where everything is a certain way, and then Sidney Poitier's character Virgil Tibbs comes in and has to sort of adjust to what is going on here because he's used to being up north in Philadelphia, and when he comes down south he finds it's almost like being in a different country, and as a result he's treated very differently. So this was the second time that I'd seen this film. The first time I'd seen it was quite a while ago. The second time was last night, and I actually enjoyed it more this time than I did last time. I think there was a certain few things I picked up better this time. I think in terms of following the murder mystery angle of it, I certainly was able to follow it a lot more this time, and was able to follow what was going on. I read some other reviews. Some people have said they found the mystery aspect of it quite confusing with all the clues, but I managed to pick everything up okay, and I think it really works well just as a whodunit murder mystery film, regardless of the racial conflicts in the film. I think it's a very good mystery film. But what really makes this film good is the characters. I think Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger, they give absolutely brilliant performances in this film. They're a very good duo on screen, even though they don't get on all the time. They manage to work together, and it's just very interesting seeing these characters interact with each other. It makes for a very interesting watching experience for this film. So I'm going to give In the Heat of the Night a rating of 9 out of 10. I think it's a very good film. I think everything is very well done in this film, and yeah, I would recommend watching it if it sounds like your kind of thing. If you're looking for a murder mystery whodunit film and you also want to see some of the racial conflicts which were present in 1960s in the deep south of America, then this is the film. This is the best film of that kind. So yeah, so that is my review of In the Heat of the Night. So there we go. So In the Heat of the Night, guys. So have you seen it? Would you like to see it? Please let me know down in the comments below. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.